that important, other than the fact that it makes it easier for me to execute the technique. Okay, there is a concept that hopefully none of you will ever run into. It's called use of force. Okay, so law enforcement concept. If you end up defending yourself in court against someone who has attacked you, and that person has a good attorney, and they find out you know any jujitsu, you are immediately put on this level that you can kill people with a simple stare, okay, or any martial art, okay, and you are now put in a very defensive position. You use this technique, it used a lot of force, it injured this person, the technique is designed to injure the person, and you are toast, okay? And I've been through this once in actual court and once by deposition, okay?
What's deposition?
Deposition is where you're sitting down with an attorney, and it's like for a court case where they're asking you questions and you're responding, and you get
This is not in court.
What technique you did, if you remember, how it's used properly, how once it is set, you're not. Once it is set, you are no longer using any force because you are using leverage. And if the other person resists it, which is what they would do on a shoulder lock, and if for those of you who did this slowly, you set it up, and then you had your opponent resist, what happened to them? Any of you try that? We're going to try this. We're missing an important component. Get out here again, okay, is set this up, okay, and resist it. What happens to him?
He goes down.
He goes backwards, okay? And so you then can get into an explanation of, well, once you set this hold, if the defendant resists it, he is then creating pain, discomfort, falls down, whatever it is.
Risk injuring himself.
Injuring himself because he has chosen to fight, he has chosen to use force against leverage, and force doesn't work against leverage, okay? It becomes a simple argument of physics. And judges can understand that, surprisingly, okay? And so you walk away, everything's hunky-dory. But if instead you say, well, I set it up and I ripped it down, okay, yeah, you had the leverage, okay, but you may end up having used excessive force, okay. Now, of course, the situation comes into play. If I swung at you with an axe and you dislocate my shoulder, no judge or jury is going to find you guilty of using excessive force. Okay?
Hopefully.
Okay, on the other hand, if you swing at Corey with an axe and he dislocates your shoulder, okay, he could end up going to jail because there is a book out there.
Disparity of
size and weight. Okay, and there is a book out there, and I've got it someplace in the garage, and I've got to find it. It has all these charts, etc., on size and weight disparity, and what allows you to use higher levels of force if you're smaller or bigger, or what have you. It's really a great source. It's actually in a book by some guy who did a book on flashlight techniques.
John Peters.
John Peters. Okay?
John Peters Jr.
And it's in that book, and I can't find it. So,
I may have it readily available at the
Yeah.
house if it's in the flashlight.
Then you can look in the office.
you need to learn how little effort is required to execute the technique. Because using that little effort and doing the technique properly is what can save your butt in a court of law.
Just remember that what you're learning here, your techniques, you're learning self-defense.
Right. Well, you set this up, and the guy comes in and get it, and he grabs it, and you're just going to come in and you set it up nicely, and you do your throw, and everything's hunky-dory. Okay. We want your uke to give you a little resistance. Okay. So that you have to use a little more effort, or so that you have to change, not necessarily change the technique that much, but so that you have to either distract him or do something that will allow you to unbalance him. Okay, so if I'm going to come in here and he doesn't do anything, I've got to hit him or stomp his foot, okay, up the crotch, excuse me. Okay,
That's
something,
what?
what? Okay, do something that's gonna distract him so you can come in and do your technique. Okay, and any one of these strikes, okay, up in the middle, okay, move here, see what's happened to him? If he tries to stay rigid, okay, if he tries to stay rigid, okay, see what happens? Simply by taking it up there, I can unbalance him. If I shift my weight, and now my hip against him, then I can shift and do the hip throw. So what we want you to do is just do something that's going to unbalance him. Because you're not going to do this, just do a basic hip throw on him. He's not going to cooperate with you. Get real fast for martial artists, okay? There's a lot of stuff that gets in our way in life, and if you can find some way to relax through meditation, it really helps. Even if it's a couple of minutes, okay? If you know, and there's so many different ways to relax and meditate. You know, I'm not going to get into them all. In a street situation, okay, you have to be able to work to be successful, you have to be able to work in a state of Mushin. Okay? Mushin is only going to work if you are mentally relaxed. Okay. One of the best things to do, if you're in a very stressful situation, doesn't matter what it is, quickest way is simply to pause for a moment, take a deep breath, and exhale. And you'll be amazed at how much that can relax you. Okay? Sometimes it's just a matter, also, you know, in a classroom, sometimes if I really get stressed out, I don't know how to do it. I rotate my shoulders and turn my head, and and I take a deep breath and relax, and get all these vertebrae to crack. Okay? It drives the kids crazy because they hear this. How do you do that? I don't know. But you know, in a street situation, you have to be relaxed. You have to be able to sense what the other person is doing or going to do. That is critical to your survival. Yeah, you're going to be tense. Okay, and say, how do you be tense and relaxed at the same time? Okay, well, if you're aware of the situation, okay, and you can take that deep breath, it's going to be a tense situation. But if you can keep yourself, if you can keep your composure, okay, you're going to be okay. Okay, you have to avoid from freaking out. Now, that doesn't mean you don't have to act like you're freaked out, okay? Because that's where you're controlling the situation, okay? You can act scared. You can act however you want to act, okay? And yeah, you will be scared. I shouldn't understate that. But you have some slight control over the situation, okay? If you are relaxed, you will have better control over it. And the idea of relaxation is to have control over yourself. Because if you can control yourself, then you're better able to control the situation. And that applies to any aspect of your life. Say here, this first one is the one that I initially started with, or started in. It's mainly a difference in the book. Jutte essentially has either the handle or the grip. We're using English terms. Okay, this is your shaft, this is your tip, this is your hook. Okay, so it's handle or grip, hook, shaft, tip. Okay, and I found that when working with this, I didn't like the tassel thing because it has a tendency to come undone. So I removed it and put on that tape, which really gives you actually gives you, in my book, a more useful weapon. Okay, but anyway, I then, you can pass it. These are not light; these are fairly heavy. Okay, so that's why I'm taking you, because as you do some swinging, you know, if you don't control it, you tend to hit things. This one is a 6-sided jutte. I ran across this about 10, 15 years ago. You cannot find these anywhere now. I even have, you know, wholesalers that are looking for them, and they can't find them. And these actually turned out to be the least expensive ones. These were wholesale, like $4 a piece.
Yes, you are. I know where to find them for $200.
I can find them for $200.
You can find them $240.
Yeah. The center of balance is fairly close to your hand versus being clear down here someplace. Yeah. So anyway, that's the other. This is the most recent version that's available for the people who have no idea what's going on. And I've never worked with these, except it comes more to a point than a hook. Now, for those of you that are wondering, why am I wearing tape? Okay, the reason you are wearing tape is because of the end of the hook. Okay, because the jutte is involved in a lot. It actually hooks into the wrist or things of that sort. Okay, that's one use for it. And these hooks, because even though they are not necessarily sharp, okay, like a knife or anything like that, because it's a relatively sharp edge, it will tear. It's actually, if you're using it for self-defense purposes, it's actually a ripping weapon, ripping and tearing weapon. Okay, so it's not a nice thing to get it attacked with. The only thing that keeps it from being felony possession in the United States is because there's so few people who know how to teach it.
Most people don't know what it is.
And most people don't know what it is. Even martial artists, they put it up with their other stuff, and they say, "Oh, that looks nice. That's impressive." Let it collect dust, and they have no idea how to use it. But it's a tremendous. It's a very serious and very vicious weapon. Okay. Yeah, we will. Okay, now the jutte was initially designed like this, and surprisingly, if law enforcement knew, if there were enough people that knew how to use these things, these would be felony possession. But you're lucky. So you can walk around the street with this, and people say, "What is it? It's a piece of metal." Okay, put a key ring on it. Put my keychain. But anyway.
Yeah, let's market those.
Airport security. No, this will not make it through airport security. Okay.
Sensei,
yes.
why is this sharp and that one is not sharp? What's the difference?
That's just the way they made it. That's the most modern version, and this is actually more dangerous. This is traditional.
That's antique.
Yeah, and I'll show you.
I actually think that those were made by people who really didn't know
What a jutte
the right
is.
way to make one.
Correct.
Disarmed samurai warriors, okay, by the prefect's guard or what have you, and because they were of a lower caste than the samurai, they were not allowed to carry a weapon. They had to use a lesser weapon. They were also, not allowed to injure the samurai because that would cause disgrace and insult to their master and all of his relatives who had passed away and for the future forever. So the jutte was originally designed to disarm samurai, and so we're just going to show you. Is that there for a particular reason?
No, it was just.
Okay.
But it's going to be worth it.
And this is a dull sword because I'm not entirely stupid, because I haven't done this for about 10 years now. Okay, so initially, and it would usually be worn in the belt, okay, with the tassel. There's a way of wrapping the tassel in your hand, okay. Off the right side, and so you can draw with either hand. Okay, so if he were to come in with the sword to tape to draw the sword, my reaction would be here, and this would come out, and that would immediately go to his throat. Okay, and that's where it would stop. Okay, or I might even go up to right in front of his face and in front of his eyes. Okay, all that is to intimidate. But you're not going to continue with this because you're going to get hurt. Okay.
Tap them on the forehead.
Tap them. Right. This is also known as a nickname as a helmet breaker, because of during the Japan, the ancient fighting, the samurai and whatnot wear these huge helmets to protect their heads, and these things, if you put them on a 6-inch shaft, okay, they just go up to the poor samurai, bonk, okay, and even though it wouldn't break the helmet, it could render the samurai unconscious because of the impact to this thing, okay? That's why they're heavy, okay? And so it's at the end of a 6-foot shaft, you just take that puppy up and whack, and you just put the guy out without even damaging his equipment. But anyway, so, okay, if by some quirk he gets the weapon drawn, okay, you then come around, okay, and if he's going to come sideways, you have to block it. okay, that's the trick. And you don't block like this because this causes fingers to get cut off, okay? But you will block crosswise, and then depending on the angle of the weapon, you will come in and deflect it away. Now, and this is all the hook is meant to, is to trap the weapon and deflect it away from you, whether it be overhead, side, or anything. Okay, and the technique is essentially the same, is that you come in, even if it's overhead.
Are you on overhead?
Overhead. Okay. If he comes in overhead and he gets it drawn,
Press that one here.
okay, press everyone, okay.
Yeah.
Overhead, I would simply come in again this way, deflect it, and take it down. Okay. Now, one of the problems is having to do with the katana.
Pose that for me.
Sure. The sword was broken. Poor samurai has to commit seppuku,
What's that? Suicide?
ritual suicide, because his sword is he has brought insult to himself and the sword maker by breaking the sword. Okay, so you try
They're
not
too
to.
tough on themselves.
It's a different value system. But so anyway, this is what the jutte was initially used for. Okay, once the samurai are disarmed, okay, the palace police and eventually the Tokyo police are, what else can this be used for? Okay, and that's what we're going to get into. Okay, because this has a lot of neat other uses. Okay, okay, so you take them. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to, all of you know how to block, right? Good. You're going to block easily today, this afternoon, because Mark's going to come up here. He's going to swing at me, okay? And all I'm going to do is I'm going to block. That's why you're going to block, swing nicely, okay? That's all I want. You can block outward, okay? You can block inward, anything, and please block gently, okay? Because again, this is metal, it will hurt, okay? That's all I want you to do is practice blocking a little bit, okay? Block, okay, because you do your other stuff here, okay? But all I want you to block, if it's an overhead, okay, block, okay? Please keep the guard, the hook, parallel to your arm. This is a safety factor, a safety factor. I don't want you doing this yet, okay? Because once we get out here, we have a whole different ballgame, okay? So keep the hook parallel to your forearm. This protects him, not you, okay? Okay, are there any questions? Bring the extremity down. Unfortunately, in bringing the extremity down, you have to use the hook, okay? And that's why you're taped, okay? So let me borrow Corey, I'm getting it, okay. So, Corey's gonna come in, and it's really important that when you use this, you wanna have this along the outside, and you don't want it on the inside of your arm, okay? This is basically, at this point, it's doing the same thing as a tonfa or PR24 would. It's providing some, protection to your arm. And if it's in on the inside, you can't do it. Plus it gets in the way of you turning because it has to get past your forearm. Okay, he's going to come in for a hit. Okay, all I'm going to do is block. Okay, and you're blocking at a right angle. Okay, from here, what I will do, okay, is the hook will dig into the arm. And all I'm going to do is come down and step away. Okay, now because he's taped, he's going to be fine. Okay, stand slowly. Okay, if you do this slowly, if you do this fast, this is going to go. These will go through the tape. So, all I want you to do is block here. Okay, and regardless of where you get, I'm trying to keep you down to the wrist because we're going to do something else up here. Okay, we don't want to damage this part of the arm yet. Okay, you're going to hook here, and you're actually going to hook in. It's going to hook in above this bone, ideally, and then you're going to and raise, and then you're just going to pull down and back. Okay, that one technique should disable his right arm because you're actually ripping from here on down. Okay, here, okay, and you're bringing it down towards you. Okay, this end. Okay, or left-handed down towards you. Okay, or you're cross-blocking. Okay, down towards you. Okay, it's all. We're here, walk across, down, towards you. It's all the same movement, okay? What does it do? It causes some pretty serious ripping on the top of the hand, okay? That's what it's supposed to do, okay? It's a messy wound, it's very bloody, it's very painful, okay? It's not a nice slice and dice like with a knife. Yes?
Now,
Okay, I'm just gonna come out here, okay, and bring it down and out, okay?
How about this doing the same?
Block, okay.
Okay.
Okay, can I come in?
Pose.
Here, I block,
Uh-huh.
okay, and all I'm gonna do is bring this down and rip. I don't really care about the weapon, because you're gonna drop the weapon,
Can you go pose that at halfway down?
okay? This is actually easier to work with. And again, because it's easier to work with you, you're also gonna be able to do a lot more damage, okay? So if he wants to come in with a hit, okay, hit, and I block up here, again, I'm gonna trap, hook in, come down, guess it'll go down the entire length of the arm and back. Okay? It's,
You just opened up the
Here,
whole
the zip
lower
is
arm.
that.
yes, you've opened up the whole lower arm.
Vivisection.
What?
Vivisection.
Yeah, and you're talking some really heavy duty injury here, okay? But hey, if you, all I want you is to hook in and pull down and retract. If you get his gi, please, yeah, please let go of it at some point, okay? If you come in from the outside, block, okay, here, down and back. Okay, if you're using your right hand, in here, down and back. It's still all the same technique. We've just changed, excuse me. Okay, if you're gonna come in and cross walk here, down and back. It's because he's got to roll it easily. Okay, so the technique is the same, but now you're going to be doing a lot more damage. This way. What some of you are doing is you're coming in either at an angle, and you're contacting at an angle, okay, which is not right, okay, or you're coming down this way, and then you're turning and then coming down, okay, and neither of these are proper, you know, if you want to do this properly, okay. What you want to be doing is you come in, you are perpendicular, you come down perpendicular. As you bring, and you keep this perpendicular, I mean, you keep it parallel to your arm, okay? You don't want it up here like this, okay? Like this, okay? You want this perpendicular to your arm. And as you bring your arm down, it is going to change its angle naturally, okay? You don't have to do this, okay? Because it doesn't help you, okay? Just keep it here, block, and bring it down, like you're just bringing it down, and it's going to change its angle normally. Okay?
Sensei.
And if he's hooked into this, he is going to come down with it right to your side, like an obedient puppy. Okay? Yes.
Sensei, you know, about this, can you do this, you know, from here? Yes.
You can, but it's a lot of work because you're having to. You need to bring it down to you.
What do you mean, huh?
Well, down to your side.
Sensei?
Yeah, just we're not going to be going after. You're not going to be literally attacking the blocking arm. What we're going to do now, and I'll use Jared. Okay. He's going to come in with his hip. Okay. I'm going to come in. This, okay, is going to come up either to here. This is the preferable side. The other side is over here. Okay. And then all I do is I hook in the top of the trapezius here, and I'm going to, again, the same motion, I'm going to come down. Okay.
And then knee him.
By the same fashion, you can come in here and come across and hook into the side of the neck, or into the side of the neck here, and pull down. This tends to be fatal. Okay. Yeah, yeah. Okay. This is a big time mess. Okay. But going for the shoulder up here, this is not going to be fatal, but it's. He'll wish it worked. Right. Okay. Because you're going to there's actually going to be a lot of permanent damage done up there, and nerve damage as well. Okay. That's going to affect.
He won't be able to use that arm.
Or you're coming around, coming underneath.
I learned
Here,
the
Yeah.
no.
Okay, that's it. Okay, so you can do this from behind as well. It's available. His armpit. I can come in here, hook in, and rip
His pectoral muscles.
pectorals. Okay. I can come down the side, rip. Okay. Okay. You know, you can rip any place you feel like rip. There are better places to rip than others. Okay. You can, if he comes in with a hit, you can come in here, turn in sideways, and pull up. Okay. You can for a kick. Okay. Kick. Let me just hold your leg. Kick. Okay. You come in here, you hook from the bottom, you pull up. You can go up into the thigh, block, pull up. It's all the same technique.
You really wouldn't have to do much off of the kick because the weight of their leg coming down.
Yeah, they're weight of the leg coming down, and all I can do is sit there and set it, and wait till he takes his leg down, he's done the damage. You didn't do anything to him.
I just walked.
Down the shoulder, some of you are working hit again. I mean, you're working the upper arm, okay, that's perfectly all right, okay? This is a good area too. Okay, I figured if I taped your whole arm, you'd really get frustrated. Okay, okay. So any place where you can hook into muscle, okay, is very effective. Okay. Coming down here, it's kind of, there's not that much there, okay?
No.
And you're gonna hurt, you're gonna cause some pain and grief, but there's not much there. There's nothing there that's vital.
Over.
This here is if you don't want to cook, you can just bring this end around and it usually ends up in their mouth. Okay? The problem with that is you're going to really tick this guy off. Okay? In our system, we don't do any hits to the mouth. It's really a waste of effort. You can cut your hand. Okay? Dental bills are really expensive. And usually it just makes the person mad, even if you knock their teeth out. Okay?
You want to try it.
He's now writing a script for a movie called Jutte. Anyway.
You want, huh?
And all the actors will wear a cut.
Oh,
Jutte on a plane.
Jutte on a plane. You can come in when he hit, and you can use this as a striking weapon to various vital areas. Okay? I don't recommend going to the face this way because it's probably going to, more than anything else, it's going to give a glancing blow. Okay, because heads are pretty small targets.
Too many facets.
What?
Too many facets.
Too many angles. Okay, so you're better off going for the torso, okay, groin, okay, and use it as a striking weapon to that extent. You can go for the throat, okay. You can also, as for those of you who are familiar with Kubotan, you can, this is a really cool technique. You can use it, as a Kubotan for pressure points, okay, to move the person. So if you don't want to strike, you can use the edge as we use a Koshinobo or Kubotan, okay, to go for vital areas. If he wants here, and I want to just come in and use him and take him down with this, I can, okay. But that's another option. You can use it for a while in this position. We're not even worried about that. Okay, now we're going to take this out in this manner. Okay, now you still can have your same tears extended. Okay, except this time you're reaching out rather than pulling back. Okay, so I'm not. If you want, you can spend time on it. It doesn't matter. You can come in and do your block, and then shift out and then tear. Okay, or block with one hand, tear with the other. Okay, and the movement is the same. Instead of bringing it towards you, you're now going away. Okay, so that's the same. So if you want to practice that at some point, you can practice that. Okay, it's kind of like 6 of one, half dozen of the other. This can also be used as a striking weapon. Okay, as a striking weapon, it will break bone. Okay, so if you have this, you're in this grip. If he wants to, and you're going to have to be careful here because the intention here is to break the collarbone, which is not a difficult bone to break anyway, and it's not a serious injury. okay? But all we're gonna have you do, you're gonna do this carefully, is he's gonna come in, you're gonna block, this is gonna come up, okay, and you're gonna tap down on the collarbone. That's all I want you to do. You can do this with a fair amount of force here and flick it down. If you keep your wrist fairly loose when you do this, it should snap the collarbone. Because there's a lot of force at the end of this sucker. Okay? So that's all we're going to have. And you do it either side. I don't care. Hit that hand, out, bring it up, and strike down to the collarbone. Okay? Can you hear that? You can feel that. I can feel it. Okay? But it's just very up and then let it come down. And you can actually add more momentum, not with your whole wrist, but with your little finger just pushing down. Okay?
Even if it doesn't break it, it'll feel like it.
It'll feel like it. Okay. Okay. And what will it do? It will incapacitate that arm. Is it permanent? No. Okay. But if you don't want to really hurt, I mean, if you happen to have a rebar in your hand, you can do this with a, rebar will even work. If you're at a construction site, okay. You find a length of rebar with that, that's all you need. You just come up with a tap. Okay, give them a love tap. Okay. You can also come in, we're going to let you practice that one. This one I prefer you not practice, where you're going to block here, come around and do a tap in here, okay, or to the cheekbone, okay, and it's done with the end, okay, not up here, okay, and this can come in, this can break cheekbone, this can cause other problems, okay, if you have a lot of force, you can come up under the jaw, okay, maybe break the jawbone, okay, that's a serious injury there, okay, okay, so I'd like you to practice this one. Your little finger is what applies the pressure initially, not the whole hand. Because if you do it with the whole hand, it actually stiffens up the joint and makes it harder to come down. And by using the little finger, it leaves the wrist relaxed, okay? And because the wrist is relaxed, you end up with more momentum and more force at this end, okay? And then as you get down here, then you can re-grip it firmly with your hand, okay? So you're coming up here, and the hand is basically open, okay? And you basically close your hand as you bring it down, okay? You can have a knife, okay, and I'm here, okay, and this is going to come around, and I can just ideally give him a tap right on the inside of the wrist, okay. Is it going to break anything? Unlikely, but it's going to hurt like hell, okay. And you're not after injury, you're after pain, okay. Then once you hit, then you come back up, okay. And because it's out, you extend back to him, or across. If you extend across, and you get this up there, what are you going to have? You have the same technique as he comes in with a hit, and you come across behind him and take him back in that direction, possibly down. It's the same technique. Okay. Okay. One thing I want to mention that Mark brought up, okay, is that if you're striking, okay, or if you're striking, it isn't that important, but if you're actually using it as to apply pressure to nerve centers, the reason you have your index finger here is, there are actually 2 or 3 reasons. Number one, it keeps the jutte in place, in the same position. Secondly, the jutte tip, and it's easier to control where you're putting it, because you're basically like you're pointing your finger at it, versus thumb doesn't work as well, and this works least well, okay. The other reason is, when you have your fingertip, the edge becomes an extension of your finger, and, okay, and fingertip, edge, kubotan, koshinobo, fork, spoon, okay, ballpoint pen, whatever you happen to have in your hand, that's why you have your finger on the tip, because it becomes an extension. So you can be very precise, and you can exert a lot of pressure right on the edge or tip of the jutte, okay, or koshinobo, or whatever you happen to have. You don't want to use the flat part on either kubotan or whatever it is. You always use the edge, okay. That's what causes it, because what happens is you're concentrating the pressure into a very small area, okay. That's what makes the elbow probably the most dangerous weapon to hit with. And kneecap comes second. Because you can put a lot of power into a very small target area. Okay, more than you can with a fist. Okay, okay. Moving right along. We have been nice to him so far. Okay.
No, we're not.
Now we're going to be a little less nice. Okay. Most of you are familiar with empty hand. If he comes in with a hit, where you can come with a hit here, you can come across his hand this way, and if you have your nice Aikido technique, you take him down. Okay. Or if you happen to have what we're going to have here, we're going to have the jutte. He's going to come in. We're going to block. Okay. Block upward. Okay. We're going to hook on the other side. Okay. Now I have a number of choices. Number one, we've dug in. Okay. So out of courtesy here, I want you to take, rather than continuing on with the hook down into his wrist. Okay. I want you to turn this sideways so the hook is no longer in his wrist. Okay. And you can either bring him straight down, okay, or you're familiar with this we're going to do this with hanbo anyway, or you can pivot around, take him around this way, okay, whatever you want, and then when you are done, you simply continue through, pull the jutte back. You're always coming back into a ready position with the jutte to your side, okay. You don't lift it out, okay. So again, he's going to come in, you're here, it's left-handed here, up. This would actually come into the wrist, okay? You set this up and you would bring him down. Out of courtesy, I want you to turn the hook so it is parallel to his arm. Okay, so it goes this way without doing any damage. And then continue on with the technique. And then when you're done, you pull it back towards you. Okay, this pulling towards you is critical, or going straight away is critical in most of the techniques because it is a ripping weapon. You're using it as a ripping weapon. Okay, so we're going to have you try this wrist lock takedown, for lack of a better phrase. You know the technique already, coming with a kick. Here, you block it, or you block it with a fist, bring it up, and then you turn to your right, and it goes over hunky-dory. With the jutte, okay, he's here, you're still going to block, okay? This goes under, okay? Even if you want to hook just below the knee joint, that's even worse than here, okay? And you just rip it around and pull back. Okay. I think you did it cross.
He did it the other direction.
Hey, yeah. If he comes,
Could you do that again, but pose the turnover part? I'm just trying to,
okay, here we're blocking, okay, and we're hooking in,
I got, well,
and then, okay, and again, I'm going to retreat, okay, and that takes, he won't walk again for a while. Okay, if you go from the outside, okay, no, you're going to come out of the quad side. Yeah, just kidding. If I come out here, okay, I can block across, and regardless of where I get him, if I get that hook in there, I can just, even if he's coming down, wherever I get on his leg, all I have to do is pull back. Okay. Sometimes you can get in, and, okay, fine, we're going to cross it now. Okay, that's hold. Oops. Okay. I won't put the hook in yet. Okay, but just hold on. You can block it. Okay, and if you can get the hook up here, okay, clamp on. Okay, and come around. You've got the same technique as the arm. Okay, and again the hook could be turned around. And then again, I'm going to pull and retreat. Okay. And at some point, I'll have to let it go, okay? But, I want you to realize that the techniques you're using on the wrist, arm, can also be used on the leg. Okay. Okay, we've done the wrist, we want to do a shoulder lock or kick. Okay? So he's gonna come in with his hip. Okay? We're gonna hit. Block, okay? This is gonna come up underneath. Okay? Hook. Okay? The hook is into his forearm. Okay? Now, to do this, I just don't want to bring this down. I need to, so that I can get the hook to work properly, turn it sideways so it doesn't get caught in him. Okay. What I need now from here to execute is simply to step forward. I'm going to let go of the other end for safety's sake, but let go, and again it tears as it takes him down. Okay. So if you want, we're going to let you try that carefully. Okay, again, he's going to come in, here, bring this up. Make sure, out of courtesy, the hook is facing away. It's going to initially be here. As you bring this over, you're going to have to turn it to, so the hook is towards his head. Okay, that's for safety. Okay, and then you're going to step forward and bring it down. Okay, this is why I retreated the other way. Okay, so you need to step forward. You can't do this standing because this is not flexible. And if you just stand here and do this, odds are you're going to take his shoulder out. And I don't want that to happen because Jenny's wife will be really upset with me. What are you supposed to do when this is really goes beyond the ridiculous, okay? All I'm going to do is come up and hook under here. Okay, you're going to hook the fingers and you bring them, actually you're going to bring it back. It's the same technique, okay, except he's now had some really serious damage to some fingers, okay? There's somewhere, if he comes in with a hit, okay, you can come in here, block it, hook down into here, okay, right inside the thumb. And again, it's just at this point, it's a pull down and away. Okay, you can come in for a hit, here block. You can slide. You can hook the thumb from here. If he has an open hand, which is even stupider, and he's trying to slap you, fine. Just hook in inside the palm, and again, grip downward, bring it downward. Okay. All these are basically the same thing you started to learn in the beginning. Okay. But because it's very difficult to take the hand and maintain flexibility. Okay, if you want to work on this, you find one person who's going to be uke, or you go out and find a mannequin arm and a hand, and you tape it up well, because they really can't move the hand around too much once it's taped, and you can try this. Okay, you've got to be very careful. Okay, you can come in. Again, for a hit, if you want to work the head, there's nothing that prevents you from coming across either behind the ear or across the cheek bone and ripping. Okay, this is, like I said, this is a tremendously vicious weapon if it's used properly.
Improperly.
Properly.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so some of you may choose, to practice it. If you have the Ju book, you can work a little more. If you can find a uke who's sufficient number of drugs.
Could you pose the wrist peel finger off?
Which one?
Peel finger off. He grabs your wrist.
Here. Okay. And again, it's just a matter of. I'm sorry. No, see what you.
I'm going.
Let's go on. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. Okay. They didn't have cane masters and all that other neat stuff. Okay, with the cane that has the nook, which I guess it's the nook or the hook, whatever it is, the hook, which is larger than what is normally on a cane, so that you can hook it around someone's neck. Okay. So in any case, this was what was in use. The hanbo is about 36 inches long. Then you've got a jo, which is probably about another 40 to 45, somewhere in there, 40, 50. And then you've got a bow, which is around 6 feet, okay? And that's the one we can flail around and wipe out people that are 200 feet from you, okay? And I have some of my older black belts from long ago, they actually prefer to use the bow over handle. They got some really nice techniques, empty-handed, that they evolved to use with the bow. Okay. This is also about the same length as a long batons in terms of police enforcement, okay? It's also about, obviously, the same length as a cane, so all the techniques you're going to learn with this you can also use with a cane, okay?
So you roll.
So the walking stick is actually something about for me, about that high for me. But anyway, so, and you can put, brass handle on this end and, something else on this end. And it's still, a walking stick, okay? Very dignified, okay? But it's also a very good weapon, so that's how we're going to use it today. This one is, unless I have it, getting proficient, you also realize sometimes you want something with a bit more weight than what's standardly out there, because if you have the control, you can use the weight to your advantage, okay? So I've kind of I've been looking for the heaviest wood I could find, and this was it. Some guy up in actually Washington, he custom makes these things. He has all different kinds of woods you can select from. And I said, I like one that's octagonal rather than round. And so in any case, I think this is the one. I'm not sure. Generally, you're either going to grip it both hands down or one hand up, one hand down. It depends which side you're going to have. So it's relatively easy. For some of the techniques it's important, some of it isn't, okay? We are not going to, unless we get time, go into any strikes and hits with a hanbo today. Okay, we're going to do a straight to technique, okay? So I need to borrow, you want to be okay? Okay. What?
Not really, but.
This is a wrist lock, okay? We're going to start off with a hit, okay? He's going to come in, okay? All I'm going to do is raise this end up, which brings this end down, okay? Then pivot as I would for a hand throw and bring it down, and that's it, okay? All it is, he comes in with a hit, block out, okay? Raise this end up. Don't try and bring this end down. If you try and bring this end down, this is what's going to happen. Okay, so this is the end. It raises up as you step in. Yes.
20.
Here. Okay. And I'm not going to do it this slow on the street. Okay. And as I've stepped forward, all I'm going to do is step this foot back and bring it down. Okay. And retract. Okay. It's real. This one, we're going to start out the same way. Okay. You're going to trap. And normally you brought this up and you just didn't throw. Okay. Now, if you want to make this technique a little more effective, you're going to have to be careful at 2 points. Okay. Number one, this goes under the jaw. Okay? And when you're doing this, when you're working out, you want to make sure you don't knock their teeth out. So that's your one thing to be aware of when you're setting it up. The other thing is when you bring this person down, because now you're trapping this, but this is where the actual throw is occurring from. Okay? It's down this way. You need to take this out. Because if you leave it in there, I just want you to go down. If you leave it in there and he goes down and his back hits and his head goes in that way and this is in there, something has to give. And it isn't going to be the handle. Okay, it'll be possibly his jawbone. Okay, so once he's going, you need to retract it out of it. Okay, it's the same thing as for those of you who know Tai Tosh. Okay, when you're initially learning it, you're coming in with the elbow down. Okay, as you get more proficient, we usually start doing this with our purple belts. This comes up underneath. Okay, first thing that hits the mat is the head. Okay, you go down with your opponent, and what is under his jaw? Your forearm. Okay, usually after that, there is no submission required because his head is the first thing that hits. Okay. So this is the same technique, except you're using handle. Okay, so he's going to hit, going to block, trap, comes up under his chin, and it's the same footwork as before, take it down here. And now, your finish, if you're gonna make it nice, traditional style, your finish end would be a strike to the sternum with the end of the handle. Okay? Yes, you can do this. That's not classic. That's just gonna break ribs. Yes, you can go to his head. That's gonna be excessive force. Okay? Okay? But if you come in and strike down here, it'll make an impression on him. It probably won't break his sternum, but it's gonna hurt. And when he looks in the mirror every morning, he's gonna have this little remembrance for a couple of weeks in the groundwork. You do it with hanbo, but with hanbo you can have more fun with it. We're gonna show both the basic and the variation. The variation you know already because you just did it for. He's going to come in with a pow, okay, deflect, okay. If you want, when you get up here, okay, before you trap, if you want, you can strike, okay. You can't go face the ribs, okay. That's fun. Okay, now this hand's going to come underneath, okay. Now there are two ways to do this. There's the hard way, which is pulling it down, okay. There's the easy way, which is one reason I like the octagonal shaped ones. It has ridges, okay, and that is, instead of just bringing it down, is all I have to do is roll it.
Why does that
He goes
hurt
in.
more?
I just know it does.
Because this goes here, you can come in under his throat again, okay. This time, if you roll, okay, be very careful, because if you roll this, he will still go down, and you still need to take this out, okay? Now, from here, okay, you still have this turkey, he's in a good position. Here, I'm going to, from yesterday, step around his head, okay, and now I'm set, okay? And I can maintain. You may think he has slack here, but I'm on his shoulder. Okay? I can actually bring this down to below his shoulder, and I can put my knee on it if I wanted to, and that will keep him down.
Bar is actually underneath the scapula, which is holding it in there nicely.
Okay, so again, you can do, we'll do it more gently this time. Here, to bring it down, roll it. He will go down, okay? Step back until he is down completely, okay? Once he's on the ground, if he's face up, okay, you need to rotate this so that he goes onto his back. Get your arm down my side, sir, please, before I break your wrist. Okay. Okay. And then I'm going to come down. I lost it. Okay, get this back under here. Okay. And that's what I want to have. Okay, and I'm in a fairly secure position here. Okay.
What if he?
Okay, you've got two choices of where to put this thing. Okay. Ideally, you want to go right beside scapula. Okay, that's maximum pain and discomfort. Your second alternative is right into the joint. Okay. Once you get any further down, it's uncomfortable, but it's not going to do much. Okay. So ideally, you want to get right inside that hump there. Okay. If the person's arm goes back, you can actually feel that. Okay. You need to get right inside there. Okay, because there are nerves available with this thing. Okay. Where you can go right into the joint, but any further down is useless. Okay. So we've done that one. We've done two there. Some of you are coming in from the outside, and you're trying to do this, okay, and it really doesn't work too well, because what happens is you're losing your grip here, and the best you can do is whack him in the back of the head. Okay, if you're going to come in from the wrong side, okay, what you need to do is come over his head and under his chin. Okay, and then even though it's flaky, you still take him backwards and down. Especially if you whack him in his face. Especially if you whack him in the back of his head and then whack him in the face, he's going to know he's getting stuck up. Okay, but anyway, you can still take him backwards. Even though this is not as secure and it feels awkward, it'll still work. Okay. Shoulder lock. Okay, I mean, there aren't too many things you can do to people, okay? And I don't want him grabbing my wrist yet or something. We'll get into that a little bit. But, oh, I know what I want to do, because we wanted to get him in the arm lock with him maintaining it on his own. We're going to have a hit where he's reaching towards either one. Okay? So he's going to come in. This is going to come around and whack him. Okay? This is a distraction. You may break his arm, but it's a distraction. Okay? It comes down under his arm here. Now, thumb has to come out. Why is thumb coming out?
Jutte.
Jutte. This is actually almost a jutte. This is similar to a jutte technique. It also traps what?
His wrist.
His forearm. Yes, his wrist and forearm, so he can't take it away. I'm going to reach over, bring this here, okay, and I'm going to bring him down, okay. Now, in this position, all I have to do is come up here, put this in here. Thank you. Okay, and now it's fairly secure. Okay, if I want to make it better, ideally what I might want to do is come in under and do it this way. Okay, and then get that up there, sir. Thank you, sir. And we're going to leave him there for a minute. I mean, he can eventually get out of this. Get out of it. Yeah, but anyhow. So, all I want you to do is he's going to come in with a hit, you're going to block across. Come around. Look under. Up here, take him down. Okay? There we go. Now I'm happy. Okay? And this you can maintain with a knee. Or again, I can press down here if I want. Okay, we're in the same position as before. Okay? Very good. Okay. A couple things to be aware of, okay? The more you think circular with the hanbo, the more effective it's going to be, okay? So for those of you that are coming in on this technique and you're getting up here and you come around to here and then you're pushing down, this is a lot of work. You're going to be more effective if you're here and then roll it. Okay, think circular, okay? And also you're then more likely to be able to set them into an arm lock if you roll it rather than try and push down. Because if you roll it, as one end goes down, the other end goes up. Very good, okay? Okay. And you know, this is a lot of work here, okay? If I try to do this on Corey, he could probably lift me off the ground and I'd be out that window, even though the wire grate was there, okay? So, you know, you have to roll. It works better. Okay. Next one, again, is going to be for hip. Okay. He's going to, and I'm going to show this 2 or 3 ways, and you can practice all of them because it works off of shoulder lock. And you all know shoulder lock or takedown. Okay. So he's going to come in with a hip or plug, whatever he's going to block. This comes up underneath, bring this across. The same as the jutte. You're going to very carefully take him down, okay, and slide it out. Okay. If you keep it in there and you do not go down with him and you do not do this slowly, shoulder will dislocate. Okay, be aware of that. Okay, because you have a lot of leverage because you're holding the other end. If I was holding it up here, okay, if I was here and I set this up, okay, and I bring this and I just hold it right here, okay, he's fairly safe. If I move my hand down to here, okay, down further, I have more leverage.
Increases the lever arm.
What?
Increases the lever arm, which
Right.
increases the amount of force.
Right. So, okay, again, go back to the lever concept, okay? So just be aware of that, because you have a lot of leverage here. Now, if you don't want to do that, I'm not going to hurt you.
Yes, you are.
I'm not going to hurt you. I'll let you know ahead of time I might hurt you. Okay. Okay. Here, you can bring this back to here, and you can bring this back for the fun of it, or you can simply bring this under his chin and set it up this way. And you still have a shoulder lock. Okay? And now all I have to do is step back and pull. And again, please pull it out. Okay? Another one variation on the theme is simply bring it back here. Sorry. Don't worry about bringing this arm up. As long as you have this arm underneath here, he can have his arm almost straight and it's still going to work. Okay? The other thing you want to do when you're done, don't stand over him looking. Okay? You need to retract back into a ready position. This is so important on the street. Remember Tony Ibbett? Short Tony Ibbett?
Right.
Stood like something like 6 something, thin as a beam. He had just gotten his green belt, first belt promotion. And I don't know where he was, and there were these 2 guys fighting, and one guy seemed to be losing, so he pulls the top guy off. And the guy does, and of course, green belt, after 10 weeks knows next to nothing. Okay? He pulls the guy off, and the guy gets up and decides to do a flying snap kick. What does Tony do, in spite of how tall he is? He ducks down. Guy goes over him, splat. He looks up, there's Tony standing at him in a ready position. He took off. Tony never touched him. That ready position, if you can establish it, can be intimidating. Okay? Because the person knows that you know something, they don't know how much. And if you can create part of winning in anything, on the street, in business, I shouldn't say in school, in sports it is, part of winning is intimidation. Making the other person feel insecure. And if you can make the other person feel insecure, odds are you're going to win. Okay, but even grab anything, it's up here. And if they see you're ready to go, and you're in some sort of a stance, okay, and maybe you have a weapon and it's being held properly, they're going to say, do I really want to mess with this person? I may know Zippo. Zippo wasn't. Okay? That's done with a little cigarette lighter. Anyway, it's a real burn. But anyway, you can make an ash of yourself. I'm going to be quiet. Anyway, so, start a new flame. Anyway, so, okay. That's why he's losing hair. Okay. Okay, now, I have 2 choices here. If all I want to do is get rid of him, okay, I just want to get him off me. All I really have to do is bring this around in this manner, and I'm backing away, okay? What is this technique similar to? Okay, it's similar to this one here, okay? Basic release, you learn it in Danzan-Ryu, you learn it in Mushin, you learn it, it's a basic release that's taught to students who know absolutely nothing. And the first night they go home and they think, oh my God, I'm deadly, okay?
No, this is really
Right above the side of the kneecap, there's a nerve there and he will go down. Okay? Or if you don't want to do that, okay, here, okay, you can come around this way, take him down, and come from behind, okay? Don't go for the back, okay? It's not an injury issue. We're talking about pain and bringing the person down. If you can come in at a diagonal, okay, there are nerves there. What?
Femoral hanbo.
Right, and that's what you're after, okay? He will go down, okay, and he will be in a lot of pain and discomfort. Okay? Same thing above the kneecap. You're going to create, hitting the kneecap is going to hurt, okay? It's conceivable you could break the kneecap, okay? If you get just above the kneecap, because again, you've got some nerves up here, okay? It's going to hurt, and it's going to be a nauseating hurt. Okay, which is even more effective, because he's going, he with some nerve attacks, you wonder, why is my stomach upset? Okay, why do I have this nauseous feeling? And I got hit in the arm, or I got hit in the leg. Okay, isn't it just supposed to hurt down there and not the rest of my body? Okay, but what you're after is debilitating this person, not necessarily injuring them. Okay, so. If you want to finish up with that strike, fine. So he's simply going to grab it. It's all a matter of how nice or how really nice you want to be to this person. okay? You can just come back and get the release, or you can come back and strike, okay? Or you can come back and strike. His knee is there set perfectly for it, either outside or inside. Do not go for the shin. This is not going to do much down here. This is going to hurt like hell here, but that's about it. Okay, he might break it, but probably not. Okay, if you want him to go down, you've got to get above the kneecap, and that'll take him down for sure. No ifs, no ands, no buts, except his. Okay, any questions? You do it with the other hand.
Move to the other side of the room.
Okay, if he's going to grab, and this is being nice, okay, you can come around this way and again set up almost across. It'll work momentarily if you do it fairly fast and you can bring him down, okay. You can also from the inside, okay, you're out here, okay, you don't even, he can provide the base for some strikes, okay. You can strike in, and I'm striking in with the edge, okay, strike in here, strike into the neck, okay, and he can still be holding on to you. There's some need, he's helping, okay, but you can also come in or you can come in here to your balance point, okay, take it back, okay. You can, and we haven't gotten out of this yet, okay. You can, okay, yes, you're here, and you come out this way, you know, you can come in here. You can also come in, I can't get to that point now, okay. Now I can get to the point. But anyway, some of you know this for submissions for a kick, it's a nerve press, but there are times when you can just come right into the inside, about half, 2/3 of the way down the thigh, and push in against that, and that will take him away from you, okay. I found in most cases this works, this right here works the best if you want to get him back, okay. And then you're ready to go. If he wants to come at you again, you know, that's his privilege, but okay. So all I want you to do, instead of taking it this way, you know, instead of going this way, okay, and retreating, what I want you to do is go this way inward, and you're going to attack, okay. Here, okay, up here if you want, okay. If you get up here, what's really better than hitting, okay, is you got the edge. Better than hitting is to roll it, okay, a little bit as you go down, okay. If you've never had that done to you this way, or with a Kubotan, it's a once in a lifetime learning experience.
Or over the front of the knuckles.
Or the front of the knuckles, okay. It's a once in a lifetime learning experience. It's not going to injure you, but it hurts like hell and leaves a really neat red mark for a couple of days. Okay, so anyway, people, one time in junior high, kids would actually try this on themselves. Anyway, so, okay.
Says something for junior high.
You know, kids will try anything in junior high. Okay, so again, he's going to grab, okay. All you're going to do is bring this around. You can strike here, or you can put it here and simply push. We're pushing this way, okay, I'm not pushing that way, okay, continuing the circular motion, okay, let's see what happens. As in any profession, police officers have a really warped sense of humor in your profession. Every profession has it. You have to be able to laugh at yourself to maintain your sanity, okay, and so Tony, no, I'll use Tony here because he's actually volunteer. And then I'm going to use someone else because I need someone who doesn't know what's going to happen. Okay, Tony came in and for wrist strap, right? Okay, and they got under release and he went under the arm. Now there is a technique, okay, in Jiu-Jitsu where you strike under the arm, okay, and it's a very debilitating strike because there's no body protection there, and people don't expect to get hit there, and that's why it's such a neat place to hit. Okay. Big cluster of nerves. Okay, and they were pushing. And I said, well, rather than pushing, and you can actually do this with an index finger if you want. Rather than pushing, is get the edge of this up into their armpit, and then turn slightly. Okay, okay, just up there, and that's it. You can do this with your finger too. Okay. And this goes back to a technique that was several years ago, which is actually a submission. Let me use someone who's not familiar with this. I'm Byron. He needs a good laugh. Okay. And he doesn't know this one yet. Okay, and you have the person down, and there is a submission where you theoretically put your heel into their armpit and you're supposed to stretch. But do you know that if you vibrate your heel, they start laughing? Okay? They can't help it. You just, and it's just a nervous reaction, and it really works wonderful. And you can have this person held properly, and you just take your heel and vibrate it in their armpit, and they'll start laughing, okay? It's just an annoying thing, and they want to get away from it, okay? And that's all you do.
I'm not even trying.
Anyway,
I'm trying not to laugh.
I know that. Anyway, so.
Pose that, please. Wait, Byron, state it.
Well,
Just put the heel there.
wow.
I didn't believe it until they
And,
did it to me.
it's so hard for them to stay mad at you.
So we were just roughhousing.
He's laughing, right?
It's an
Okay,
interesting wiring
If you get
diagram
into that
issue.
situation on the street, okay, and you can actually do it's easiest to do with your heel, but you can actually take a fist in there and vibrate it, and it'll have the same effect. They'll start laughing.
I would love to see that on the street. Explain that to the police officer.
You're breaking his wrist with one hand, he's laughing. Anyway, so, okay. You can try this during the break if you have nothing else to do with your life. Okay. And then we have some spray deodorant you can use. Okay, anyway. Okay, I'm going to give you a break for that. I have stupidly let him grab onto the hanbo. I don't care. Because you see, on the street, you can't say, "Sir, will you please put your hands on the outside of the..." so I can do my technique properly? Okay. Okay. What you do have to do, if a person grabs your handle or any type of shaft, okay, if they're using two hands, right now we're in a strength versus strength position, okay? I have to get one hand, even if it's on the end, outside of his hand. Okay, one has to be in the middle, one has to be on the end. Okay, because this is strength versus strength, and if I go this way, he can push that, and it's strength versus strength. I need to establish, what's the L word?
Leverage.
Leverage. Okay. Effort, fulcrum, load. Okay. So effort, fulcrum, load. Okay? Okay? Okay, that's why you have to have one hand on the outside. It's all physics. Doesn't matter whether this is 6 inches long and you've got tiny hands, or this is 20 feet long and you're dealing with King Kong. Well, it would. Okay. He grabs, regardless of how he grabs, even if he grabs both hands inside of yours. Okay? This is, again, strength versus strength. You have to get one hand inside, even if it's right inside his hand, and again, it's leverage. Okay? You're not going to get him by doing this with a person. This is exercising. Okay? Unless you want to do tomonagi, which we're not going to do. Yes?
No.
Ends. But ideally, you want to have one hand inside, one hand outside. Here, I'm going to have to go this way. Okay, I can shift to go this way, but whichever I wish. Okay, and I've got to get it as vertical as possible. Also, because now he's looking at the end of it, it's towards him. Yes.
Is it?
Or you're getting here, and but then you're coming off to the side. Okay, and ideally, what you want to do. You've got, this is where you're going to off balance him with. And if you're over here, it's not going to work. If you're over here, it's not going to work. If you come in right to center, okay, now you have him off balance. And this is really easy to take him back. If you just bring this to his center, okay,
Work the center.
where are we at? This point up here, okay? He's going to go back, okay? And the more he fights it, the faster he's going to go back. So when you try, I just want you to try this a couple more times. Okay? And no matter how you point, bring this up and get it to his center, and then push. And you're going to find it's a lot easier to do than if it's to one side or the other of his head. We're going to have Corey thumb. Now, he's going to go. Okay. Now, if you realize that this is not going to work, Okay, and you don't try things in any martial art, okay? If something doesn't work, you don't keep working at it, because
Definition of insanity.
it's the definition of insanity. And what's going to happen is you're spending a lot of time trying to do something, if this is going to work, and the person's going to do whatever they want to do to you, okay? Because you've got this mental fixation, I have to do this hold, or whatever it is, okay? And it's never going to happen. You may have to do something else and you can back into it, but the rule I've always followed, and that's from my sensei, if it doesn't work this first time, and you're in a randori situation, or in, not just practicing, but, or kumite or what have you, if it doesn't work the first time, don't try it a second time. Do something else. Also because if the other person is expecting you to do it now. Okay, so so they're set up for it. So if you can't get this to work the first time, and he's compromising your strength, okay, what you need to do at this point, and I'm going to just hold this up this way so you can see, is you need to slide down and grab one thumb. Okay. If you're inside and you can grab two thumbs, that's even better. One thumb will work wonders. Okay, you're just going to grab onto around that thumb. Okay, and all you're going to do from here is turn this in towards the person, and they will go down. Thank you, sir. Okay. This works even better if they grab on the outside of both. See, because now you can slide. What you do is you bring it up. So you can lock the thumbs into your palms. I'm going to be gentle with Corey this time because, otherwise he won't be able to eat Chinese food tonight with chopsticks. Anyway.
He can just bury his head in the plate, suck it in.
He couldn't before, so.
Okay. And all you have to do is get those thumbs right in the middle of your palms, okay? Then you're going to grab onto the handle, or whatever it is, and you're going to turn and step back, and he's going to go down. Okay, because his thumbs really hurt. Okay? Okay, and you can do this once on each other for effect. There are some things, in any mark you need to have it done once to you, just so you know what it feels like. And once you know what it feels like, then you tend to back off with the other person, because your goal here is not to have this person, your uke, really upset with you. Okay? Because on the street, you're only going to do this once anyway. Okay. Now, if you're here and you do this and you want to do your tomonagi, okay, because ideally you trap the thumbs, then at this point you bend it down a little bit and then you come in. And see, he's bending already over it, and you just slide in and come into your tomonagi.
Oh, cool.
And please, don't do this here. We're not going to do this here. Please, as he's going over it, let go of his thumbs.
So he can.
Because otherwise they're going to break, okay, and they're going to be longer than his fingers too. Okay, and that makes it very difficult to grab chopsticks when the thumb is clear out. We've had a lot of this. What?
It'd be its own chopstick.
It'd be its own chopstick, wouldn't it? Okay. So again, this person's going to grab the hanbo. Okay. However, one inside, one outside. Doesn't matter whether you get one thumb or two thumbs. All you really need is one thumb. If you bring it up a little bit, that raises his thumbs so they're up in this position. That's what you want. So that now you can slide your hand over the thumb. Okay? Then you just turn in towards him as you bring it down. Okay? Don't pull it down. Don't pull it down and then try and turn, because his thumbs will slip out. You're up here. You turn, ideally so that your palms are down, and just bring it down to you. It's very natural. Okay?
Make like a leaf and get out of here.
Make like
A leaf and get out of here.
Make like a leaf in autumn.
Okay. Now, here, you need this. I don't know.
Yay!
Good for you. Okay, if the person is coming at you, we're going to spend a little time with taking hanbos and batons away from people who bother you. Please, if you get into this type of a situation with a police officer, do not do this. Because once you do that, they are allowed to go to the next level of force up, which is either the OC spray or the little piece of metal that moves really fast and puts a big hole in you. Okay? So, okay, or a taser. One of the things I really worry about, and it's very serious, and I've seen this particularly in airports, because they've got all these security problems. I think it's Chicago, where I've seen the police officers, they have their handgun, they have a taser, they've got a rifle, they got all this stuff on them. How do they move? You know, and if they want to go to taser, they got, you know, it's
They're not going to
really
sneak up on anyone.
what?
They're not going to sneak
They're
up.
not going to sneak. I mean, I understand from the one perspective, they're trying to show that they're prepared, they can handle almost any situation, and plus the body armor. Okay, officer, what are you doing down there? And she and her cohorts will get very upset with you, and you will find yourself with a pair of bracelets, and you get a nice cell with cousin Bubba. Okay. Okay, but anyway, what you want to do is, if this person comes in, we're going to give you two. Okay. One is if they're coming at you high, you just take hand over their thumbs, grab on, turn in and back and down, and they go down. Okay. If they don't want to go down, you're here, you step in, and they go back down the other way, okay? And then make sure you take the weapon away from a little turkey, okay? Okay?
Fun.
Okay? Do not hit them with it, okay? That's really, it may be facetious, but it's really important. Sometimes officers do get overly ambitious. Okay, I had a student years ago who's, some of you have heard this, he was at a fire, and all of a sudden someone comes up behind him, grabs both his wrists to pull him back. And we have a technique where if you grab from behind, you just make like, you know, the old Western movies, you drop your elbows and, you know, and he does this to the person, whoever it was behind him, let go. Because there's a crowd of people watching a fire, and the fire equipment was there. A couple seconds later, whoever it is does it again. Does the same thing. This time he turns around, it's a reserve officer from a police department who's trying to get people to move back. So the guy says, and the officer was really getting frustrated and upset at this point because he's tried this twice and it hasn't worked. And so, but the student might have enough presence to come with me. Like, so the officer saying, come with me, he says, come with me. He says, where's your you know, superior officer? So they went over and the student said, what does he want? You know, he keeps grabbing me from behind. And the reserve officer said, well, I wanted him to move back. And so his commanding officer said, well, why didn't you tell him? So, yeah, and you sometimes, you know, and sometimes it's just a situation where you don't think, you act. And maybe if you had used a verbal command or you say something to the person, you get the cooperation, you get the support, you don't end up with this physically frustrating situation. Yes? Well, let's say this is someone who's just coming at you with a broom handle. Your wife is upset with you, your girlfriend is mad. Okay, get out of here, what have, and you're going to do this, and she's going to be a little vicious sucker. I don't want to break anything. Okay.
No, actually, that's
Because actually nothing happened. Okay, anyone need to see it again? Okay, you're familiar with the technique, we're just changing the mode of attack, okay? And you'll go as high as you want to go on this one. Some of you will just kind of like slither across the floor, and that's okay. Okay, you're going ahead, again, he's going to be coming at you, okay? And he's going to be putting, all you're going to do is put one hand up to block, okay? Other hand grabs below. What do you have here? Fulcrum. Fulcrum. Force. Okay, force and load. Okay, this is fulcrum. Okay. So he's going to come in and he has to provide, just keep on going. He has to provide the effort for this. Okay? Okay, don't hit him hard. Okay? On the street, you get him there, down here, you crack the ribs. And that should take care of him. But in here, please don't do that. Okay? Yes. And all you have to do is do this, take this down, pull it back, and strike. He'll be wide open. Okay, strike, come back into your ready position. Okay? This does take a little room. Okay, so all of you cannot get up at the same time and do this, because otherwise we're going to have a big pile of you do this. Because this is for Jiu-Jitsu people. It's kind of a revelation that a lot of the stuff you do standing up, you can also do when you're on your back. Okay, So the first thing we want to do is this simple stuff where, and I don't care, you know, you're going to have a person sitting on you, and I'll use Mark. See, we have enough room here? Yeah, we have enough. And you need to realize that if you're doing groundwork, you do need to have some space around you, because you don't want to be piling into each other, okay? Because that tends to be painful. Okay, so we're going to bow to each other. Go back to sleep here. Okay, and he's going to be sitting on me, I don't care where he is, okay. And whether he's choking, okay, choking, you can come in with, you can come in with your, okay. Only problem being with the choke is, while we're down here, is if he has thumbs on both sides of your larynx, you don't want to pop in on the elbows, because that can damage your larynx, that's not good, okay? So you want to check, you need, if the person's choking, you need to be aware, are their thumbs on each side of the larynx, or are they crossed over the larynx, okay? That's really critical, okay? If they're crossed over the larynx, I'm just going to go through a bunch of these, no, I'm going to go through a bunch of vary my voice and make him sound like he's choking me. I don't know. Anyway, so, if he's crossed, okay, if you want, you can pop the elbows, okay, you can cut the wrist lock takedown, okay, get them off you. You can come in one arm under, this will work even if he has a thumb on each side, you can knee, push in the back to get him off balance, take over that way. You can knee him in the back, grab hair, okay, do a key turn, take him over. You can come in, set a cross lapel if they're wearing a gi or leather jacket or sweatshirt, take him over, okay. If it's for a hit, he's coming when he's holding you and he's trying to rearrange your face, okay. You've got to turn your head out of the way, very important. And you can do your hand throws, you can do your rolls, you can do your wrist lock takedowns, you can do any of these things to, and these are relatively, these are things that will happen in fights at times, and they're really simple things to defend against, okay? The chokes, the hits, what else can they do to you up here? That's about it. If you sense he's going to do that, what you need to do, I'm just showing these because you're going to get down here and play with this stuff. Go ahead, go. Okay, you need to get your arms inside. Okay, if your arms are outside, you can do some things. You can try this, but if your hands are inside, it protects it from getting that close body contact. Okay, and then if you're lucky, you can do a cross choke, and it's a matter of who gets lucky then. The other advantage of having your arms inside is that if you can grab onto his clothing, okay, and my preference to do on the right side, I'll show on the left here, is if you can grab his clothing, or you can even come up and get him, okay, is you get one arm underneath and you can raise that arm up and take him over, okay? And outside you have some advantages, but inside you have protection. And you can also get to him, okay? And if he wants to get down close to you, cool, okay? Because now you can get his head, okay? And on the mat you have to realize that your head is your most serious weakness. Physically, not mentally. Your head, okay? That is the greatest danger. If I'm down here, getting hit in the head is my greatest danger. If his head is there, my ability to use his head is the greatest danger, because whatever direction his head goes, his body will follow, okay? So you need to keep that in mind. If you're down on the ground, you want his head as close to you as possible, or you want it as far away as possible. You don't want it in between, okay? So we're just going to let you get down here with your partner, okay? Try some of the standard stuff you can do standing for lapel grabs and chokes and hits and, what is it called?
Plum.
Plum?
The plum.
Okay. Okay. And that one again is getting your hand. First thing you want to do for that is get your hands inside, palm down, okay? Because this gives you more protection. Once you know how much space you have, then you can turn your hands. It's easier to turn your hands this way than it is to go this way. Surprise! I don't know why, but okay, that's just the way. So you just cross it because it protects you more. Okay, so you can try that and then get him and roll him off. Where you put your butt is of critical importance. Okay, I'm not going to. If I am sitting clear up here, okay, I can pin his upper body, but his lower body is free. If I'm clear down here, okay, his upper body is free, okay. What you have to do is you basically have to be right at that sakitaka, okay, balance point, okay. He still has, you know, he still has some strength. The other thing I'm doing is don't keep your feet out, okay. A lot of people, this is comfortable, okay, but what happens is he can move his legs up, okay. If you're in the right position and you can get your feet underneath, okay, if he tries to roll you over, you can hold him towards you if that's your wish, okay. This also makes it, one of the releases if a person is at your side is normally, he will turn sideways a little bit so he can get one leg on the ground. I don't care. One leg on the ground. Okay, do it the other way. That way. Okay. And if my foot is out, he can very easily slide one knee up under my leg. Okay, can you slide this up under here? Yeah. Oh. Can you slide? Okay. Okay. Once he slides that leg up there, I'm in trouble. Okay. Simply by keeping your feet in, even if we're struggling up here, he can't do anything down below. Okay. Just keep the toes in. They don't have to touch. Just keep them in. Okay. That's the whole key.
Called setting the hooks.
Yeah. Just, you know, and that way he can't use his legs that much. They can still go vertical. Okay. He can still, if I'm up too high, okay, if I'm up too high on him and sitting up, he can still come around. He can hook a shoulder.
You'd have to be really high.
Yeah, if I'm really high, he can hook a shoulder and take me back down.
Possibly.
Okay.
If you're up high and
Yeah.
sitting upright,
Yeah.
then
And
yeah.
we can do that.
But
And-
most
and
people
again,
don't have that number.
You got long legs, that's where they come in to help you. Okay. Okay, but your position where you're on top of him is critical, and the second part is to have your toes in. Because that also will make it more difficult for him to roll, and it'll really cut his movement down, because if you can control his hips and you can control his legs, he isn't going to go anywhere.
And
with your body.
even if he does manage to roll you over, you keep him trapped in there, and you just roll over into the guard position versus the mount position. So you just roll over to the guard position. Guard position, not a great position, but it's better than
Having the guy have all that movement and being able to run all over you on the mat. Okay. Okay. So we're going to, since we're down here now, one of the things we're going to work on, okay, is you're going to be on me again. Okay. And we want him in a go cross choke. Okay, that's good. And he's going to. Okay, and this one you can really, there are two ways to set this up, okay? One, if he can just do a cross choke and pull, oh no, not that one. Just hold on one and pull the other one up.
a noose.
A noose, he can do that, okay? And that is surprisingly fast. And you can put a person out real fast with that, okay? It's really cool. If you want to make it into a nicer pin, you do your cross choke, just do your cross choke, and he will grab high enough where he can cross his forearms and then put his whole body weight up under here, okay? And I'm in trouble. Now, a trick to getting this to work better, okay, is rather than having your hands, what do you call it? Parallel to each other, is once you get them under the chin, get them so they're like this, okay? Because that will extend his chin back and makes it difficult for him to move his head. Okay, if he can't move his head, it restricts the movement of his shoulders. Okay, but Mark's not going to do that because I won't have a chance with Mark if he doesn't. Okay, so he's going to set this up here. This is not a good position to be in. Okay, but he has his head down. Okay, and you have to think on the ground. On the ground, you have to think 2 or 3 steps ahead. You can't just say, I need to get him off me, okay? And I'm going to grab a sleeve, and I'm gonna roll the elbow, and I'm gonna take him up. You have to know what you're gonna do next, okay? You have to know where he's going to go, how his body's going to respond, okay? So, yeah, I'm gonna do this, okay? I know I can roll him off, okay? Now, I can go through a lot of effort to go across and try and do arm bar on that side. Okay, I can try and get on top of him, I can try and do a whole bunch of other stuff. For me, that's a lot of work, okay? And at my age, it isn't gonna happen before he does something else, okay? So I've got his arm over here. This is the arm I'm gonna go for. And all I'm gonna do, since I rotated with him, I'm gonna continue to turn, okay? And I'm just gonna come in and try and set the arm bar, okay? And if he wants to bring that arm back, bring it back, it's gonna go into a shoulder lock. Okay? And then my goal is to get myself perpendicular to him. If I keep myself parallel, okay, he can roll you. He can take his left leg, trap me, and roll me, or bring a hand under my chin. Okay, so when you're on the ground, it may be necessary to stay parallel to get out. It may be necessary to stay parallel to start to set up a technique. But once you get it set fairly well, you want to get up and get perpendicular. Okay, and get your, again, this is where people, let's see, if you have a long torso as I do, I have to get more of me down low and away from him. Okay, if I have a short torso, I can be closer to him. There's less of me here and more of my weight is in my legs. Most of my weight is in my body. I've never in my life been able to do sit-ups without someone holding my feet down. Because I've got too long of a body. It just won't. Okay? So you're here, or you're here, okay? Or I can come up and headlock him. If you're gonna do a headlock, please get this arm up here. So and get your head below. Okay? Because if he gets like this, okay, guess what you're gonna do? Your ears are going to make love to each other. Okay?
Go ahead and demonstrate the arm inside.
Okay, so what you always want to do is get this inside and get your head down. Okay? Now uncomfortable. Okay? And then you set your choke here. But you want yourself perpendicular wall. Because see, now you've got your choke, but he's got a large amount of body mass
Stable base.
that he really can't compensate for. Okay? And part of your success on the ground, if you're not interested in just beating the person to a pulp, is using your body mass to hold them down, okay? And you know, we could stay here for hours. That's, of course, on the street, you can't do that. And one of the problems with judo pins is that unless you're going to take the person out with a dislocate your elbow or something of that sort, it's something that, you know, fine, you got them in a headlock, you know. So what? Someone has you on the ground in a headlock, so what? Unless you're to the point where they can choke you out with it, so what? Because you can't, you're both stuck, you can't do anything. Okay? Armbar, unless I'm willing to come in here and rather than hold him in place, dislocate an elbow or dislocate a shoulder, unless I'm willing to make that commitment, you know, we'll be here all day. And I can hold him down, and he can struggle until he gets tired. And you know, hopefully the police will show up. Okay, and he can turn my head away, or he gets my hand here and distracts me. Okay, Mate. That wasn't nice. But, okay. That's just in judo.
He didn't pick your nose.
In judo,
he didn't pick your
do
friend.
that.
You
Okay.
can't do that.
What if he puts his hand here, and I get distracted, and then his next move is going to be to bend his elbow, arm. Okay, he puts that hand on top of his, and now all he has to do is turn my head away and rotate, turn into me, okay, take his left arm under, okay, and he's going to over to my right side.
Was it?
Mate, get back down. Get back down. Get your body over to my right side. Hold on. Okay, just turn the other way. Okay. And that's the easiest way to get out of it. An arm bar.
Could you do that sequence again? without hurting yourselves. I've got it here. I'm just trying to figure out the transition here.
Okay, yeah, because there are other things you can do. I think the other thing that Mark was getting works, you do spend a heck of a lot of time talking and explaining things, which, okay, so I've got him in this headlock. Okay. No, it was an armbar.
Armbar.
Right?
Well, we did both, so
You did
I
both.
don't know which one you.
I got both.
You transition
Where are you going
to
to?
Karagatame.
What's your? Where you going for?
Okay, we'll start with the armbar. Okay, I've got this armbar here, okay, and I've got myself nice and perpendicular, and he brings his hand up, okay, and we're just going to show his transition, which I'd like you to do, okay, just to get to realize it, because you got to get out this arm, okay, and then so he's going to bring this up, turn me away, and he's going to rotate around next to me. He's not going to try. Notice what he's doing with this elbow, okay. He's got it against the back of my neck, which is forcing it down. He comes around. And I'm stuck. Okay. Now that forearm against the back of my neck is critical because that keeps me from turning my head into him. Okay. It's the little things on groundwork that mess you up. Okay. Yeah, forearm. Yeah. Forearm. Yeah, forearm. Yeah. Okay. Now,
Elbow, forearm.
a way to if I'm here, I don't know if this is going to work. Okay, so we'll find out. If he brings that hand up. Okay, and brings this hand up. Okay, if before he can do that, okay, and he can start to rotate. Okay, if I can get his elbow up, okay, continue to roll. Okay, continue to roll. Continue to roll. Continue to roll.
Got it.
Okay. Now I'm back on top of him. Shoulder. Okay. The thing is, you have to realize.
Wow.
You have to. What's available?
Wow.
When you do groundwork, that's what I want you to really concentrate on here. Okay. I'm not so concerned about getting into a guard, doing your thing. You know, it's okay. You're down here. What's available to use? You need to think from standing up. The elbows are out. Hey, use an elbow. Roll it forward. See where it takes you. Let him continue to do his thing, because that's what he's going to do on the street, because he thinks he's cool. Okay, let him continue to do his thing, but you work that what you think is going to work, because that's how you develop the skills. You're going to make a hell of a lot of mistakes, but you're going to find out how to work his body as he finds out how to work your body. Okay, but you got to do this slowly. Okay. And then make sure, like, you know, I had one leg in here, that was bad, okay, for me. Okay, so I immediately got my leg out. Okay, should it have been up here? No. Should have been down here. Okay? And he probably could have worked that. Because all he has to do from here is bring this, either he can grab with his hand, or he can bring his leg up and just knock my leg out from under me and I'm off balance. And then he takes me over again, okay? So what I really want you to do for a little bit is, okay, what's available? I don't care what hold the person puts you in on the ground. Find something that's available and use it. Head, face, elbow, hand, foot, whatever. And move it and see what happens. See what happens to the person who's got you in this particular hold. See how they move. And continue on with that movement. And all you're trying to do is to get into, you know, like another arm bar or other type of pin, okay, or wrist lock, okay, cross-lapel choke. Take it back first with that, take his head back, and bring him down, and now he's going to bring, again, these are two simple moves. Now, wait a minute, okay, before, get this out of here, when I came over here, you had the arm bar, okay, which is okay, and basically what's happening here, the leg lock is basically working as a pin. Okay, this is what's going to do the damage. Okay, but Jeff has potential here for far more effective technique if he's willing to slack up a little on the arm bar. And that is to set a figure 4 leg lock. Okay, and now as he sets that figure 4, okay, he's got a far more, now what happens here is this arm bar is now just basically a control pin. Okay, this is what's going to do the work here. And so sometimes you have to realize that you may have to, you know, if you're in a position you can't really jockey, you may have to slack up just a bit, cinch it, Okay? Sanchi?
Lunch.
Right. Slack up just a little bit so you can set something else that's going to be far more effective. Okay? Some weaknesses, but it works. Okay? And you'll see the weaknesses as they're done. Okay? And there's only one real critical weakness in here. And you get a person who's a good mat person, and it's going to be over. Because they'll recognize the weakness. Okay. So you're down with this person, and whatever you're doing, you got to have toes in. Okay. That's critical. Okay. And you're down with this person, and you're doing whatever struggle you're doing. Okay. Whatever it is. Okay. And what you need to do, okay, your first move is you've got to move to the side. Okay. Get one arm. I don't care whether it's right arm or left arm. Okay. You get one arm and you bring it across and bring your head down. Okay. You've got to get the arm completely across him. Okay. And you're down on it. Okay. Feet are still in tight. Okay. Left hand has to go under and grab his wrist. Okay. Right hand is on top of his face. Okay. I now want to roll him onto his stomach. Okay. And the way I'm going to do that, and the only weak part in this whole technique is I can't just sit up. Because if I do this, I still have my weight here. I've got to get my weight off of him to an extent for a moment. So what I have to do is take my right leg down and bring it up and pull him over. Okay, that's where the weak part is. Because if he has half a brain, okay, and get this arm free, he can continue the roll, and he's out. Okay, once you're here, again, you reset yourself. Okay, now from here, you still have the hand on here, and you got to keep your body weight on the side of his neck. Okay, okay. You have to. This is still a pin. Okay, you've got to get this arm out of here so you can do something with it. Okay, because this is a nothing. Okay, so what we're going to have you do is this can be done one of two ways. One, you can bring the arm up to here. Okay, grab it and try and bring it around behind you. Okay, and then you go up into a cuffing position. Sir, get your arm out from under you. See, there's another weak area. Okay, is that again you get here, he can take you that side. The other option is you're here, okay, and you have him down. Okay, and what I'm going to do is give him a verbal command, which is, sir, raise your left arm up. Get it out from under you.
I can't.
Okay, we're gonna. Okay, now you're here. Okay, you keep the pressure. You comfortable? Are you comfortable? I'm not concerned with the street. Let him turn his head to the side so he's okay. You're here. You continue the weight with your body in one arm, and you go for the other arm, and you bring it behind you. Okay, and then from here you can theoretically go into cuffing position. It has two weak spots. Okay, and as long as you're aware of those, then hopefully you can compensate for it. What I want you to do, because you know you don't want to have to mess around a whole bunch of moves to get a person on their stomach. And this is bad enough. Okay, but if you can get him roll over again, if you can get him down here, okay. And you can get this across fairly fast, grab and over, you've got him on his stomach. Okay? And now there are other things you can do from here. Okay? If it was me from this position, I wouldn't worry about his arms. What I would do from this position is simply, let's roll back the other way, roll back. I would roll back the other way and choke. Okay, he's got a good arm here if he can get it out. But what you can't see is when you want to choke him out, you don't just grab a lapel or shirt. You take your thumb. This is what Seki taught us to do. He says you can get away with this once or twice in a judo tournament because no one can see what you're doing. Okay, you take your thumb. It's on the other side of his throat. Okay, so while this appears to be a choke, it's actually a nerve attack. Okay, so it's a matter of getting the thumb on the other side of his neck, like clip. Okay, and then you're here. He can't see. No one can see what's going on. If you get a good judge, you'll notice a red mark. But Okay, and you tap, in judo you tap, the person taps out, but not because of the choke, it's because of the nerve attack, which you can't use in judo.
It can't be easily seen.
What? No, and it can't be seen. Okay? But, I mean, that's what I would do. And I would simply put him out with this. Okay? Because for me, it's safer than trying to get his arm back and have those openings. Okay? So, what we're going to have you do, and actually this is coming up right up in here, not down here. This is good. This works better. Okay? And just hook it in. And the tighter you pull, it's kind of like a lever. The tighter you pull, the more it's going to dig in.
Oh.
Don't squeeze. Squeezing does nothing. Just pull, turn your hand, because this way your arm is applying, your body is applying the pressure rather than just your thumb. And you'll be surprised when you do this. You'll be surprised how deep you can go. Okay. So I want you to try this. I want you to get him onto his stomach. If you want to bring his arm back, fine. My preference is just keep a guard on him, roll back over, choke him out, or put him out with a nerve technique. Okay? There's not too much he can really do at that point. Unless if he wants to roll the other way, the thing is, if you're behind him with a good hold on him from behind, there's not too much they can do. Because they can't do anything with their hands or arms, because arms don't go back like that. Especially on the ground. Okay, let's try this. It's awful flaky. Okay, if he can keep me down close to him, okay, it's more difficult for me to do anything. So I need some space, okay? And what I'm going to do is basically going to be done. You know, he can be trying to choke me or whatever he's trying to do. And what I'm going to basically be doing, I'm going to be using my elbows, okay? That's my most effective. Okay, and there are two areas you can go to, okay? The one which you probably learned before is to take an elbow and just dig it inside and take him down that way, okay? That's being nice, okay? What we're going to do is, which isn't as nice, is he's going to set you up and you're just going to take an elbow, put it right on the side middle of his chest and push down, okay? And that will also cause a release. It's your nerve center there. Okay, you can't do that in judo. Okay.
But I was just transitioning.
And I lost my balance. So he has you can struggle with arms and all this stuff, but see, he's got you nailed. He's got you pinned here. You're not going to go anywhere. So all I want you do this once or twice a piece, and that should suffice. Okay. You can't reach back and grab toes and pull the toes apart because one of the guys wearing shoes. Okay, you're going to get hit. Okay, you want to keep your head down so you can't get hit. Okay, but your elbows are still free. You can't get your hand in here and do anything. You could get a hand back. You could, if he let you get a thumb back in here and dig into the nerve. Okay, but that's long. But if you just take your elbow in to your side and dig in, that'll cause a release. And what do you do immediately after that, regardless of what's going on here? You've got to get one leg outside, okay? And then you go for the other if you can. You've got to get one leg outside, okay? And get your toe in. And if you leave the toe out, he will shift to his right, bring his knee up, slide this knee up in here, and push down, and he's back in the guard. Okay, so you've got to get that leg out. Okay, so you've either got one elbow, it can be either elbow. Don't do both at the same time. Okay, one elbow in, okay, and just dig in, about halfway down, or you take one elbow, okay, you even use this elbow. Just bring it, even if it's, okay, get it there, okay, and then just put your body weight into it. You're not going to try and hit him. Hitting this close is useless. Okay, he can't even hit me with his. He can't even hit me. You know. If he's got you in a guard, you want to keep yourself as close as you can, because out here is where things are going to happen. Okay, so all I want you to do is have the person set a guard on you, and I want you to get out of it.
Body weight into this elbow point and get that leg completely onto the ground. Once it's down, pinned on the ground with my body weight, now I can easily slide my knee up over his leg, and I'm out of the guard.
If I may contribute, when his elbow is in my knee, I'm instinctively moving it away from that elbow.
He's making it straight.
And that basically gets his leg over it at the same
Allows
time.
me to just lift
It's the
my
only way I
knee
can move my
and
leg to
I'm
get
right
away
up-
from the pain.
I'm right up on top.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Okay. We're using, okay, we're in the mount, again, he probably has, if he, he's got his toes in, okay, because he's smart, okay? And so what we want to do now is we need to get him, we need to get one leg outside, okay? And whether it be guard or mount, it's the same rule. You've got to get one leg outside, okay? Because otherwise he can, if I roll him over, he goes into scissor, he maintains his mount from under, he goes into the guard. It's a very easy transition for him as long as he's got his legs on the outside of mine. So I have to get out of this situation, okay? So whatever he's gonna do here, okay, he's choking or, we're knocking each other's teeth out, okay? Again, I've got to somehow get one leg, even as one hand, okay, down, okay? Now, I could do a shark bite. That's not nice, and I'm not going to do that.
Especially when they got their hands around your throat.
Right. Yeah, I can do a shark bite. He's gonna move that leg, okay? But what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to come down right to the base, okay? And all I'm going to do is come to the base, okay? And notice that this right leg is up because I'm working opposite. What I'm going to do is simply push, okay? That's all I'm doing, okay? From here, okay? I want to go this way. Okay. From here, I'm going to push him over in this direction, okay? Because this is his weak side. He's lost his balance. Okay. From here, right now, we're going to have a 50-50 chance of who's got their leg on the outside, okay? He could come up and kick me if he's organized, okay, and take me back over. But what you've got to do is because he has his toes inward, I can't come up sideways and do this. If he had his toes outward, okay, I could come up, okay. That's why your toes are in, okay. But so what I want to do is I'm here, we're struggling, and I'm simply going to come down, okay, over. And that's going to take him over. It's just basically an opposite move. And I also have to turn, because you're only going to have a second. Okay? So I want you to try this. Okay? And he can be doing whatever he's doing up here. If he wants to be choking you, fine. You are not trying to get up. If you try to get up, none of this is going to work. If you're in the person has you in a guard, okay, and you try and get up, you're not going to get a release. You've got to be willing to stay on the ground, okay? And then from here, if I get him over this far, I'm really happy, okay? And at this point, I'm going to roll over and do whatever I want to do to him. And just from my training, my option will be to get him at the very least on his side. I don't want him facing me. He can hit me. That's not nice. Okay? And then from here I'll go to whatever I want to go to. You can get him over onto his stomach. Okay? This can essentially be applied back down or stomach down. Okay? Back down, he has a way to get out of this. It's doable to get out of it. Okay? Back down is essentially he's here. You're going to be coming, when you're coming in, it's a little more difficult here because I don't have really gi I can grab onto it, and I don't want to go around the head because it's not going to get me anything. The key is, glasses.
That was almost a good submission there.
Notice that palm strike. Anyway, okay, what you're going to do, okay, this is, and I don't like it back up, maybe back down, because there's so many nice things he can do about it. But essentially on a back down, what you've got to do is you've got to come in with one hand underneath and grab belt, okay, and the other hand is going to come across and grab gi from underneath.
Or armpit scan.
What?
Or it's armpit skin, snake bite, I was thinking.
It's armpit skin, okay? Now, from here, it's very, because I'm grabbing his belt, okay, from in between his legs, it's very difficult for the person to get out. It's a nice pin. The trick is you've got to keep your head down, okay? Okay. You can't do that in judo. Okay, and even, so what you might try to do is set this up, okay, and see if the person can get out of it, okay?
Yeah. I like her.
Okay, he got out. Now, from the other side,
I know this one.
he knows this one. The other side is a little more difficult, and I actually have an advantage, because if I'm down, you tore my nails. If I'm, what?
Is that what that sound was?
No, yeah, the gi. That's one of the problems with judo gis. It tends to tear nails. Okay, on this side, if he's face down, you're actually in a better position, because what I'm going to do here is I'm going to reach through and grab lapel. And I'm going to grab belt again. Okay? Okay. Now, if he tries to turn away from me, he chokes. If he tries to turn into me, he's got my body mass. Okay, and I have his arm trapped, so he can't do anything with it. Okay?
Hold still.
So on the ground, I mean, it's a great pin. Okay? On the street, you're going to get killed with it when his friends come in and wipe you out. Okay? But all I want to do is to try this. Okay? Both sides. Okay? The top side you can get out. This one is much more difficult. Okay? The only way he can get out of this, actually, is if he can take his left arm, fold it and bring it down, if he can. Okay? If he can bring it down, and then he shoves his, wait a minute, he brings his arm down. Okay, get your shoulder up into my arm here. Raise the shoulder up. There you are. And now he's out. At this point, I am in deep trouble. Okay? And to avoid that, okay, get back down. To avoid that, that's why you need to keep your head. Make sure you're keeping your head up here because it raises your shoulder up. You get down to here, he's got you because you've got room in here now. Okay? So we're going to have to try both of these just for the fun of it.
Two possibilities of positions you're going to end up with this person on the ground. One o'clock at. It's almost an instinctive position for people to go into once they go to the ground. I mean, you see it in schoolyard fights. That it's just an automatic reaction to clinch, and people do it. Problem is, most of them don't understand what to do once they get there. Okay, once you set a guard on someone, the guard is called the guard because it should be a momentary position. You never ever want the guard and then sit there and see how long you can hold this person in the guard. It's just bad strategy. Okay, because I bring him into my guard, and I got him in the guard. There are so many things that he can do and just pound me to death here. Okay, so bad position to try to stay in. Okay, and there's very few techniques that I can actually do from the guard, at least without dropping the guard momentarily to set something up and go into it. Okay, so your guard should only be a momentary position. Try to use it as a strategy to figure out what he's likely to do. Okay, if I set this, we immediately go into the ground, and I set this, and I sense that what he wants to do is pound me. I want to use my legs against his hips, and I want to draw him as close to me as possible. Okay, I want to bring him in close and tight. Okay, so I know what he's trying to do. Once he figures out that he can't hit me from this position, then he's probably going to try to go to do something else. Okay, and once he does that, then I'm going to transition into something else. Okay. So I use it as an opportunity to make him change his strategy. I can use a guard for a second to maybe catch my breath if I need to, but you've got to use your legs. Okay, If he's looking to punch, I need to use those legs to pull him in as close to me as possible. If I think he's going for a choke or something like that, and I want to use these legs to get him away from me, okay? All right, once I get him away from me, okay, then I have other things that I can do as well, okay? But the purpose of the guard is to make him change his strategy. And as soon as he changes his strategy, okay, then I can use that against him, okay?